equipments that you will need are a safety equipment, which is used to make sure the gouge doesn't slip and hurt others, a palette to spread the printing ink using the brayer, which is used to roll the ink out evenly on the palette. The baren is used to make sure all the ink is applied from the linoleum to the printing paper. You also need printing ink, and of course printing paper. You will also need a pencil and an eraser to create and erase the outline that you draw onto the linoleum. A gouge, which is used to cut onto the linoleum. And last but not least, a piece of linoleum. To begin with, you draw an outline of what you would like to be cutting out onto your linoleum piece. With the gouge, there's a small storage where you can keep the blades, and the blades vary from different thickness. To use the gouge, you spin the top, then choose a blade size that you would like to use, place it in between the space with the metal ball, then secure the top back on. Using the gouge, you need to be careful with your fingers and not place them in front because it is easy for the gouge to slip and you may cut yourself. Basically, you have to apply some pressure onto the linoleum with the gouge so that you can move through the lines that you have created and it will cut out the pieces. Keep in mind that whatever you cut out will not appear in the print, and also everything is flipped over, so if you're using letters, then you should flip the letters before you cut out. As you can see that by changing the blade to a thicker size, the cuts became deeper and also thicker than the ones before. So this is the final outcome, and here are my other cutouts that I have created. Next, get some printing ink and place it onto the palette. You don't need that much because you don't want your ink to be too thick. Using the brayer, just evenly distribute the ink onto the palette. After you have evenly spread the ink onto the palette, use the brayer and roll the ink onto the linoleum. Make sure there isn't more ink in one area than another because you want the print to come out evenly in the same color. Once that is done, flip the linoleum and place it onto the paper. Using the baren, apply pressure onto the linoleum so that the ink sticks onto the paper. Carefully pull the linoleum off the paper. So this is what the outcome looks like. In this case, I'm showing you that if you apply more pressure onto the baren when you're smoothing out the linoleum onto the paper, there will be less white spaces and all the ink will stick onto the paper. And here are what my other pieces look like. So after you finish using your linoleum, you should go wash it out straight away so that the ink doesn't dry onto it. Using soap and a sponge to help wash the linoleum makes it a lot easier to wash out the paint. To make me feel better. So let's stay together. To make me feel better. I hope you enjoyed this video, and that was how you relief print. So let's stay together. To make me feel better.